Good evening. While preparing my remarks for commencement, a good friend told me not to worry. After all, he reasoned, nobody is coming here to hear you speak, nobody wants you to speak very long, and nobody's going to remember what you say. There is a great deal of wisdom in my friend's words. 25 years ago, I was sitting where each of you are sitting, and although I remember a great deal about my commencement, I honestly can't tell you who the commencement speaker was, much less anything that he or she said. The reason commencement speakers often fail is that they forget who it is all about. It is about each of you, the class of 2013. It's about you and your thoughts and the emotions that are pulsing through your veins. To this end, and with the sincere hope this may help one or more of you, I'd like to share with you the 10 things I wish I had heard from my commencement speaker so long ago. First and foremost, do not be afraid. Unlike other commencements, law school graduates often temper their celebration with the knowledge that the bar examination is just around the corner. And we're worried, we're afraid that if we don't succeed there, this graduation, the past 3 years, all the hard work is for naught. To some extent, this fear is a good thing. It will no doubt spur you to study harder than you have ever studied in your life, and as a result, most of you will pass the bar. Those of you who fall short will make it on the second try. In the worst case scenario, in the absolutely worst case scenario, you will simply learn that you were not meant to be a member of the bar, but rather another profession for which you have great passion and for which no doubt your law degree will prepare you in ways that you could not yet imagine. All of the graduates who have gone before you, all the ghosts of commencements past, are speaking to you today, and we are urging you not to be afraid and to celebrate your graduation with the joy you have earned. Second, look for and then seize your defining moment. A quarter of a century ago, most of my graduating class, including me, did not yet have a job, and we were uncertain of our calling in the law. Even those of us who thought we were certain would learn in the years to come that we were wrong, that there was an area of the law we had never heard of and for which we were ideally suited. In my years at Hamline and on my day of graduation, the thought of becoming a prosecutor, much less a child abuse prosecutor, had never crossed my mind. I took a job as a prosecutor simply because I wasn't confident my parents would let me live with them forever. 2 weeks into my career, I was asked by my boss to litigate a termination of parental rights case. The most poignant moment in that trial came when a young social worker was being grilled by the defense attorney about all the things that he did wrong. And one of the things he did wrong is he had removed a baby from the home, which under Minnesota law a social worker cannot do, only a police officer can. And as he was being grilled by this, the young social worker began to cry and he said, "The baby was covered with maggots." Before that trial, I didn't know I lived in a country where a baby could be covered with maggots. After that trial, I knew the rest of my days would be spent as a child protection attorney. It may not be as dramatic, it may not come as quickly, but each of you graduates will have a defining moment in the years to come, a moment that tells you what you were born to do. When that day arrives, and if you seize that moment, the present anxiety about your future will melt into the peace that comes with knowing you have found your place and you are ready to leave your mark. Third, always remember, graduates, the headline rule. All of you have studied ethics, all of you will be tested on ethics, and then as soon as the bar is done, all the rules you have memorized will be quickly forgotten. That's okay. That's okay. The vast majority of ethical conundrums you face in the future are not answerable in any of those rules. In order to survive, in order to live with yourself, all you really have to remember is the headline rule. When you face a situation and you're not sure what the right thing to do is, simply ask yourself, if my conduct were on the front page of tomorrow's newspaper, how would I feel? If it would upset you, then it's probably the wrong thing to do. And if not, you're going to be just fine. Fourth, please remember that you can change the world from anywhere. There is a myth that you need to be in a state or national capital or at least a large metropolis or a large law firm to have a real impact. This belief is refuted by even a cursory reading of history. The Reformation was conceived in the tiny town of Wittenberg. Brothers named Mayo did things no other doctors in their era dared, and as a result, the rich and the powerful and the famous came to the small community of Rochester to behold the possibilities. I was a prosecutor in a rural county of 13,000 people, but we implemented child protection reforms that put us on a national stage and were eventually replicated throughout the country and even the world. I am now part of Gunderson Health System, and in the decades to come, the pioneering work we are doing on adverse childhood experiences will make the cure of polio look inconsequential. Simply stated, it is not where you are, but who you are that matters. Fifth, if you want to think big, you may have to think small. Not only can you change the world from anywhere, it may be easier to change the world from a small community or a small law firm. The bureaucracy is more manageable, change comes more easily, and the lack of resources in smaller circles forces you to be creative. If I had gone to a big city or a big law firm or a big prosecutor's office, I wouldn't be speaking at commencement tonight. Sixth, please know that the education you have received at Hamline has fully prepared you for the battles to come. As a young lawyer, I was nervous early on because I was asked to prosecute a well-to-do criminal who had hired the very best Harvard-educated lawyer that his money could buy. My Ivy League opponent showed up at the preliminary hearing with an assortment of family members and other characters, none of whom had agreed to speak with the police. In putting them on the witness stand, he gave me, the prosecutor, the unbridled discovery that we rarely have. By the time I was done cross-examining his witnesses, I turned a good case for the prosecution into a great case. The lawyer from Harvard walked up to me and whispered, "I think I just gift-wrapped you a conviction, didn't I?" I told him he should have taken Joe Daly's trial advocacy course at Hamline University School of Law. Seventh, keep your faith, and if you have lost it, find it again. Through no fault of Hamline, I lost my faith at law school. Rigorous academic thought seemed incompatible with religious belief. This left me alone to face a sea of children who have known only the fearsome side of life. Ironically, it was these very children, many of whom were abused in the name of God, who brought me back to my knees. You see, when beaten boys and raped girls find feeble prayers sufficient to face another day, it becomes harder for you to question the possibility God exists and that he dwells among the suffering. I wish I had known that sooner. Eighth, success comes at a price. If you invest yourself fully, you can make a lot of money, you can advance quickly, you can fulfill your wildest idealistic fantasies. I did all of this and more, but it came with a cost. If you choose a similar path, there will come a day when the pain of missed recitals, birthday parties, and anniversaries gnaws at you, and no accolade can replace what you have lost. This is not to say I would have done things differently. This is not to say my family wishes I had done things differently. This is not to say that you should do things differently. This is not to say you should not pursue your goals with all that you can muster. It is simply to say you should make these decisions with your eyes wide open. Ninth, take care of yourself. Come what may, always take care of yourself. No matter how busy your life becomes, no matter how much is on your plate, take some time for music and dog walking and sunsets. And if you are lucky, if you are ever so lucky to find someone who loves you in spite of your faults, cling tight to him or her. And should you ever be given the honor of speaking at the commencement ceremonies of your alma mater, please remember to turn to your spouse, as I am turning now to my wife, Lisa, and thank her for following your elusive dreams. If you can't see, she's crying. That's a good crime. 10th, please know that with your graduation today, your family has grown immeasurably. You see, when you survive law school together, there is a bond among your classmates that is unlike the bond from any other schooling. I am confident, graduates, that for you there are many joys just around the corner and that you are anxious to share them with your friends. At the same time, I know from experience that life will bring you gray days. The class of 1987, the class from which I graduated, has known its share of heartaches, divorces, disease, even death. Should sorrows come your way, think back. Think back to the classmates who got you through the scariest moments of law school. Think back to the classmates who otherwise helped keep your life intact these past 1,000 days. And remember that wherever you go, whatever you experience, these friends are just a Facebook page away. And if your classmates are anything like mine, they will befriend you not only through social media, but in real life and in the real dark moments. The time has come. The time has come for me to sit down and for each of you to stand up and to receive your diploma and to take the first step in a great adventure. As you take this step, as you take every subsequent step, always know that the faculty and administration of Hamline and all of us who have loved this school will be watching you from a distance. We will be watching you, and we will be cheering you on.